how long is it before the positivity of Ineos coming in, making all the right moves while the season was on, with the likes of Barada coming in, Dan Ashworth, building up that structure that we've cried out for? How long does it take before the fan base start to turn? I feel like it's already turning, simply because of how the manager situation is being handled right now. We have an update from Fabrizio Romano with some, I don't know if I would say it was damning sort of reports on what Ineos are doing right now and how they're handling the manager situation. While Ten Hag is on holiday, there is a lot going on behind the scenes at Manchester United. We're going to deep dive into that as well. Alongside that, new centre-back targets that have come to light. One that's been reported earlier on, way earlier in the year when the January transfer window was on. That's come to light again now. Obviously, we talked about Casemiro this morning, but the absolute astronomical fee, which I was blown away by, that might be on the table for Casemiro, has just been eclipsed by the Bruno one, which came out just after I finished streaming this morning. So we'll talk about that as well. But guys, make sure you give the video a like, make sure you get involved in the chat, subscribe if you want to get involved in the live chats. It's open to all subscribers to get your comments in. Even if you don't agree with me, get your comment in on the live section. Get involved in the poll as well, because I've got the feeling that a lot of people are starting to turn a little bit. I've done a poll which basically is, and if you are catching up later, give me your answer in the comment section when the live is finished, sorry. And that's with the way the manager situation has been handled by Ineos. Has it changed your mind, your perspective, and how you're looking at Ineos for the future of Manchester United? Is it worrying? Simple yes or no answer. To start things off, we've kickstarted and had 100 votes on this one already pretty much, and 65% of you have said that this has now convinced me that Ineos are not, well, I wouldn't say convinced me that Ineos are not right for Manchester United, but a worrying sign for Manchester United going forward. If this is how Ineos are going to treat the manager as it is at the moment, like, it is football business. At the end of the day, Ineos are going to do things their way. They don't care about us, the fans. I've said this so many times before, that they do not give a shit. They're here to run business their way. Manchester United and our so-called Man United way counts for absolutely nothing with Ineos. They'll look at it and go, well, what have you done over the last 10 years? Nothing, and a complete failure. So we're going to do it our way. And honestly, people like Sir Jim Radcliffe, these businessmen, these billionaires that deal with situations 20 times the size of Manchester United every single week, don't give two flying F-bombs about what the fans think. That is clear. He is a Manchester man. He will have an element of what is being said by the fans that comes close to his heart. Will he listen to the fans? I don't think so. He will be acknowledging it probably in his own surroundings and whatnot, but in terms of coming out and giving the fans what they want in terms of announcements, just don't expect it. I said it this morning, just don't expect anything from Ineos. The least you expect, the better it'll be when something does happen. But I want to get into what's actually been going on and what Romano has said in his YouTube video earlier on. It's pretty much saying that while Manchester United have been, well, Erik Ten Hag, the Manchester United manager, has been on holiday over the last week, Manchester United have been talking to agents of other managers ready for if they decide not to go with Erik Ten Hag. What do you mean if you decide not to go with Ten Hag? We're nearly 2 weeks into this bastard review, for God's sake. You either know or you don't know. It's getting to a point where it's like, how long is it going to drag on? It's like we're going to know in the next couple of days, we're going to know over the next week, the final stages, the final stages, as Romano does it, hedging his bets, making sure that he's covering all angles here. Basically, you know jack shit, except Manchester United have been talking to other agents, of other managers, and they are circulating on the managerial position of Manchester United. Everyone wants that job. Everyone wants that job right now. With the people that are in place and the people that are taking care of business at Manchester United, as a manager, you look at it and all the pressure is off. Yeah, you've got the expectation of the fan base and what's expected at United, what the fans think we should be winning, what the hierarchy think we should be winning. But with a structure like that, very similar to what Manchester City have built over the years, would you not want the Manchester United job? It's no wonder that everyone's throwing their name into the hat for the job. And you know, a lot of people, and I'm going to come to the chat in a minute, because a lot of people are going to come and say, look, this is incredibly disrespectful now to Erik Ten Hag. Just let the man know. We don't know if Erik Ten Hag knows already. He will be the first to know. Obviously, you would hope he would be the first to know before it starts circulating amongst the media anyway, because that is right. And whatever you think of my opinion of Ten Hag, I do understand the way that things should operate. Like, I have not been convinced by what Ten Hag has done, but there's still ways to go around business and getting the right decision done and right decision made within the manager situation at United. And this probably now is bordering on, even for me, to the realms of, you know what, just put the man out of his misery or give him the contract, for God's sake. Just get on with it, because the next time I hear the review is just circulating, sorry, not circulating, the review is just going on, and we're expecting to know in the next few days. Oh, God, the next few days goes into the next weeks. The transfer window opens in less than 2 bleeding weeks. Whoever the Manchester United manager is going to be, is going to need to be put in a position where they know what Ineos want. Like, if you're going to change the manager, and it looks like they're going that way because they're still talking to people, why would you be talking to people if you weren't changing? Literally last week. Like, if you did not know what you wanted to do as a manager, then I'm really concerned. You should have known before the FA Cup final what you was going to do, because no rightful, respectable, well-run football club will judge a season off one game in the FA Cup final, where of course everyone's going to be up for it. You should have already known, so what are we waiting for? Is it we're just waiting for the right manager to be released from another club? Are Ineos deciding on which manager to bring in right now? It's just getting into that Manchester United farcical stage where everyone's looking in, laughing at us. Again, other clubs getting their players through the door, everyone's settled in. Every single club above us in the league that we have to overtake has a manager in situ and a plan in place, and are already getting on with that plan now, before the season finishes. Like, literally, Chelsea have sacked a manager and employed a manager, while Romano's been talking about Manchester United doing a bleeding review over a week. This is how it looks from the outside, and this is why everybody's laughing. This is why Jose Mourinho has come out and said that Pep Guardiola is probably sniggering to himself now about all the other clubs and laughing at the other clubs. Number one on that list will clearly be Manchester United, and that's why it probably would have really pissed him off that he lost that final to United, because we've looked an absolute shambles all season, then we go and beat them in the final. It was fantastic, but it is just getting to a point where every single fan now, and I can see it in the vote, I can see it in the chat, I'm going to come there next, going into what has been said in that tweet from Romano and what you guys think about it. Thomas Mercado with Super Chat says, we're still a joke, slow United. I'm going to get into more of your comments now. I'm just going to read through some more of what has actually been said regarding this. Just trying to bring up more of what Romano, it's mainly just them. Last 3 or 4 days, talks have been held with representatives of other managers, just in case Ineos do decide to change their mind about Erik Ten Hag. Is that real? Is it honestly real? Romano has also said Erik Ten Hag and his agents are still waiting on formal communication from Manchester United to understand the club's position. Now it's entering into its final stages of the decision on the future of the managerial situation. Oh, God, final stages. Final stages of what? You either get rid of Ten Hag and get another manager in, or you make the decision on Ten Hag staying at the football club. There's nothing difficult about it. If this is the way that Manchester United are going to operate going forward regarding a manager, God help us in the world of thousands and thousands of footballers out there and how they decide on what comes in. Like, I was all for the structure and everything like this, but the worrying signs are there for even me now, and I've been a big Ineos backer from what's been said by Tim Radcliffe, the people that they've put in place. It's slowly just diluting every bit of positivity that we had, that we was finishing the season with, and it's just turned into Manchester United fast summer again. That's what it seems like. And you know what, I can understand why the fans are saying what they're saying. 65% of you have said in the poll as well that you are now convinced, or you're not convinced, so I keep saying convinced, I'm not. You have serious concerns, and you may have changed your mind over your first impressions of Ineos just by the way that the managerial situation has been handled at Manchester United. So yeah, I can see why. I'm with you. It is worrying, and there's only so many times I can sort of say Ineos are good for Manchester United. Well, this is happening. It's just making me look like an idiot myself, because I think they have done good for United so far. Everything they have done leading up to this point, I think, has been right. But I seen a tweet earlier on today with someone saying, like, with Omar Barada in situ, dealing with Dan Ashworth and Wilcox is in, what have they been doing over the last 2 months when deciding on a new manager? We had the reports of Damasio when he came out and said it. A lot of other people have come out and said it. A load of publications have come out and said it. It doesn't matter whether Manchester United win the FA Cup final or not. He's still going. We've won the FA Cup final, and now we're in the final stages of a review that nobody knew was even going to happen. It just so happened to come about after the FA Cup final. So that tells me there is an indecisiveness within Ineos, which really we cannot afford to have at this stage of a so-called rebuild. And that, I feel, is the biggest concern for most Manchester United fans. Let's get into the chat and see what you guys are saying. My answer on the poll was no, by the way, says Ryan. He's not concerned by Ineos and what they're doing right now. Eric Ten Hag is probably still on vacation. He is still on vacation, but like we said, they can easily just call him in. Like, you're the employer. If you need to bring someone in for a major decision like this, the holiday is cut short. It's as simple as that. It has to be. I'm just checking what's happening here. Just seeing if there's any more news coming in. Nothing yet. We have other stuff to talk about as well. So stay tuned and stay in with the show, guys, because I've got a feeling that there's going to be news breaking while we're actually on air as well, because there seems to be all sorts of stories going on, not just about the managerial situation either. It seems to be open time for Manchester United news and everyone's going in on it. Nothing changes. Still a laughing stock in the football world, says Christopher. Like I said, great channel, Adam. Thank you, Ricky. I love that. Romano basically repeating himself each show now. Yeah, he is. That's all he's doing. Like, I think the one thing we could say is a definite from what Romano said is, like, he will have contacts with agents. There will be agents telling him that Manchester United have been in communication with their client, i.e. another manager, and it will go on and on and on. It just worries me that if they're talking to managers and they're talking to, like I said, they're not just one guy, but several managers this week, then it just sounds like there's no idea. It sounds like they don't know what they're doing. And I can't understand that. It's like everything else has been so decisive with Ineos and so crisp and clear cut. Like the stealth mode in what we brought Barada in with. Going for the best in class and making sure that we are fully prepared and ready to go. And we're here at this stage right now, into the second week after the season has finished, just starting the second week, and we still don't know who the Manchester United manager is going to be. We know that Ten Hag is the manager right now, and I know people have said before, look, they don't need to make an announcement if Manchester United are keeping Ten Hag. They've not made any statement regarding Ten Hag's job being under threat or anything like that, so why would they? I think right now it's just been reported about so much that you're going to need to get some clarity, at least for Ten Hag, to know what he's doing, because he's the one in limbo right now. Whether you like his tactics, the way he plays football or anything, you want everyone to be in a position where they know at least what their plans are for the season, because he's going to need to find a new club. He's going to need to start making plans as well. And as you look at it, you've got to think, like, how does Ten Hag feel about Ineos going forward? Does he then trust this structure? If he's going to be Manchester United manager, then he's probably thinking, do you know what? Do I need to be here involved in this circus which is going on right now? Because all that's happened really is we've had the big hoo-ha, we've had the big words, lots of talking, no real walking when it comes to big decisions yet. Obviously, we've still only got Wilcox through the door. And obviously these things take time in making Barada official and everything like that. But still, like, if you're looking at it and Ten Hag and his people are like, do we want to be here? Like, do we want to be actually at Manchester United with all this going on, this carnage? It's like, even if he gets the go-ahead and the thumbs up, what does Ten Hag then think about Ineos and what they're doing right now? And what does that tell him about the future and where things are going to be going? If they're talking about suitors for his job while he's away on holiday, and there's been no clarity at all on what's happening with Manchester United, like, I still think that Ineos should have known what was going to happen the day after the FA Cup final. Yeah, I didn't want no Van Gaal scenario where he's sacked on the coach, basically carrying the trophy home. But at least that week we should have known, or they should have known, and we would have had an idea. But Ten Hag's probably looking at United right now saying, I might actually be better off away from the football club. And I know that a lot of you would think that's good news, but like I said, I've got my issues with Ten Hag, but I'm starting to have my issues with how the situation is being handled. Like, it doesn't matter how poorly you've performed through a season, you should know what's happening by this stage now. We're into June. Season's long gone. Everyone's forgotten about the FA Cup now. Everyone's forgotten about the season that's gone. We're looking ahead. Are you the right man or not? Ineos are dragging their heels big time, and it's only going to get worse the longer this goes on. Adam, why are Nice not successful under Ineos? Because they're not a big club, mate. Like, when you're competing against PSG and the other clubs there, like, they're minnows. No disrespect, but they are. This is Manchester United now. They're taking over the big guns, and they're delving into the major world of football. And I do think that they are good for the football club, but I keep going back to what we just spoke about there. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but the worrying signs are clearly there for how long this is dragged on. But the beauty of it is, as well, is that the media, nobody knows either what's happening. And Ineos could just walk out of this and go, well, what's the big hoo-ha about? Well, we've made our decision, we're just doing it our way. There's no reason why anyone needs to know what's going on. And they are a different animal altogether. I think we're going to have to accept that changes are coming at United, and the way that we operate is also going to change, whether it seems too brutal or not. The worrying signs are that it does look like the United of old, without Ineos and just being the Glazers. This feels like the United of the last 10 years. That's the shiver down the spine, worrying thought that we've got with this right now. And I can see it in the way that people are tweeting. I can see it in the way that people are talking on other shows and things like that. It's like we are just going back to the Ed Woodward days. Like that first summer with David Moyes, like the drag on, it just seems to be no one making a decisive decision. I thought that this would be a complete thing of the past with Ineos. And you know what? They may announce it tonight, they may announce it tomorrow, and then we can all just rest easy. But if this goes on another day, and then another day, and it's the same old regurgitated crap from the media and the people and the so-called in the knows on Twitter and X that really don't have a clue, they're just guessing, then everyone in the fan base is going to start turning. And that poll that I've got up now, it says 65% are now unsure about Ineos, will go to 70-odd%, and they will start to lose the fan base. They have to convince the fans that they are right for Manchester United. It's the same thing, and I want to move on in a minute. I don't want to go on too much about this because there's other things to talk about. But it's the same thing. Manchester United had Populous, the designers of the Spurs Stadium and the ones that have done the Real Madrid Stadium and things like that. They had them in, like, looking over Old Trafford for like 2 years. And then all of a sudden we've just got this task force in. And it seems like we're starting from scratch again. Do we not, like, delve into, like, the old reports on what might happen? Why is it so slow? Why does everything take an absolute age with Manchester United? We knew that we were looking into the stadium project. But again, now Ineos are here and it's right, I understand, but why did we have to build this so-called task force just to start from scratch again? Could we have not just carried on from where they left off and gone into that? 'Cause it now feels like, and my biggest concern, even when I was fully back in Ineos, as the season was finishing, my biggest concern was Sir Jim Radcliffe's interview, and I've said it loads of times, the 3-year plan. There is not a cat in hell's chance that Manchester United are going to be anywhere near where Ineos envisaged them to be if this is how United are going to operate. There's not a chance in hell 3 years is going to be enough. Right, let's scroll down. I know we've got a couple of super chats in here somewhere. Yet another one from Thomas. It's like a slow death, Adam. I won't go that far, but I know where you're going with it. The silence is deafening. Love Ineos, says Stu. Stu's actually enjoying it. He's watching everyone enjoy squirming around trying to find news. I know a lot of people get a kick out of that, and there is something in watching the media trying to figure out what United are doing, because beforehand everyone would have known, and we would have had loads of leaks out. Like even Romano's like scratching at anything right now, but it's just going to be one of them bombshells where someone from the Athletic comes out and drops it and says Manchester United have made the decision. Ten Hag is going to carry on as Manchester United manager, or United have parted ways, and the new manager is going to be... Bang, there we go. And then everyone can go into absolute meltdown mode, because the argument and debate will carry on again if Ten Hag is let go. I think it's easier for Ineos to deal with the mess that they've created themselves if they keep Ten Hag in situ, fan-wise. Support-wise, I feel like it will be easier for them to get over this if Ten Hag stays. If Ineos come out and sack Ten Hag now, then it is going to be a pile-on for them, because then you're going to have everyone questioning who's coming in. And already in the chat I can see, like, De Zerbi's not good enough, Potter, Southgate not good enough, people don't think Tuchel's good enough. It's just going to make a massive divide, and they have to own what they've created and just make a decision. Just go for it and make the decision that you knew you already was thinking about before the season finished. We know it was. We know it was. We knew Ineos wanted a new man before the season finished. I just think just end it now. Just put everyone out of the misery and let's just get the new manager in, whoever it is. Because I'm convinced that that's where they're going. There'll be someone inside Ineos that's saying, look, maybe we should keep Ten Hag. It's not fair on anyone. And you know what? It'll be a surprise for you to hear this coming from me, but it's probably the one person it's really not fair on is Ten Hag. Like, just put him out of his misery or get him signed up to a new contract and everything goes away. And then the poll might start changing in favour of Ineos again. But the indecisiveness is what will convince the fan base that Ineos are no good for Manchester United. I stand with Ineos. This fan base isn't qualified to make club decisions. No, it's not, Ricky. It's a fair point. Like I said at the start, Ineos were probably just thinking and looking at this and laughing and going, what's wrong with them? Like, we're just doing business. This is how we want to run the football club. Give the video a like, guys, please. We're almost at that 100 like mark. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. The day that we all thought that we were going to get the big decision, it's definitely not here. 100%. Whether it comes tonight or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I just feel like it's now got that horrible feeling that it's going to happen at the end of the week for me. It is. But who is the Manchester United manager? Who are Ineos talking to? That is the question as well. Because as soon as they say Ten Hag is gone, everybody wants to know who it is. Who's the next man? It's a minefield for them, and they've created it themselves. If we get rid of Bruno and we get either that clown Southgate or Potter, we're heading for the championship, says Leo. Moving on to Bruno in a minute. I understand the Erik Ten Hag change, but why are we not selling Rashford and trying to cash in on Bruno? We might be. They are probably taking their time to get the decision right, says you can't compete. Would you not have already known? You should have already known where you're going with this decision, surely. It's not difficult to know how bad a season was. That review, what are you reviewing? You're reviewing a poor season with a nice ending. That's it. That is literally it. There's nothing else to look at. They would have done all of the auditing, the injury situation, the way the players feel about the manager. That's all apparently already done. So why now are we waiting? Because this is just getting in the way of everything that Manchester United need to do now. I'm worried Erik Ten Hag will turn up for pre-season if we sack him, because he won't know. Yeah, probably because he won't know, even if he gets sacked the way it's going. Raymond says, Jim Rat obviously doesn't watch FUTV. If he did, Erik Ten Hag would have had a horse's head on his pillow beside him months ago. I like the laugh and I like the joke, mate. Byron says, I actually don't think 8 days so far is a long time making a huge decision. Window opened June 14th. Eric went on holiday this week. No matter what day is perfect timing. I do think it is too long. I disagree with that one, Byron, because I feel like you should have already known before the season finished. Like, what are you reviewing? You can look at the whole season, that week leading up to the FA Cup final. You could have done it beforehand. Manchester United were out of the Champions League. The review should start as soon as Manchester United drop out of the Champions League or are mathematically not able to get in the top 4. Your review starts then. To be fair to the manager, then you're letting him see out the rest of the season, but inside you're doing a proper football, you're running a football club properly by reviewing everything that's happened there. United should always be in the Champions League. I said it earlier on, you look at Real Madrid, like one day after winning the 15th Champions League, they're signing Mbappe. They don't stop, big clubs don't stop. Wait around and try and get everyone's opinion in. There needs to be decisive action at big clubs. You need to be able to make big calls. And if you can't, you end up with a situation we're in now. You end up with a fan base that is in, I won't say turmoil, but completely at sixes and sevens with what's actually happening. But hey, keep your comments coming in on that. I want to move the show on to what was actually said earlier on regarding Casemiro. And then straight after Casemiro, we heard the news regarding Bruno Fernandes and Al Nassr actually saying that they would risk a £128 million bid, or actually test United's resolve with a £128 million bid. I don't think it is risky actually spending that amount of money, but clearly not for them. So 200 million for Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. I'm sorry, I love both players. I love them to bits, but I'm snatching your hand off with that. That's ludicrous money. Do we really think that this could actually happen? Like, is it just make-believe Saudi money? Bruno Fernandes, on the season that he's had, the Saudis are probably looking at that and going, yes, that is a big, big statement signing. Bruno Fernandes at that age, he fits the bill of he fits the bill of a Saudi Pro League player, doesn't he? And I don't mean that saying that Bruno is still not good enough to play at the top level. Of course he is. But they look at it and go, he's at a certain age, he's turning 30 this year. He's still got something about him. That's the sort of profile of player that goes to Saudi, I see. Like Casemiro 31, Bruno Fernandes turning 30. Are these players coming to the twilight of their careers? Can they get them players in? Like Bruno we know can still do a job. He's that first name on the team sheet at United. I think he gets into every other Premier League team as well. I know that's debatable with a lot of people, but I think he will. He's in the first 11 for Portugal, no problem. One of the favourites for the Euros. And I just think that the Saudis are looking at it and going, let's just go in. I don't think the price will be anywhere near what was quoted. Like 123 million. Are you serious? Like, no, you cannot be serious with them amounts of money. But then they are like a different animal altogether, aren't they? The Saudi Pro League. They spend stupid amounts of money. The wages from this that were reported are astronomical. Like Bruno Fernandes will be set for life if he moves to Saudi. And I think that's how they're trying to tempt these players in with the big wages and everything like that. But can you seriously see Bruno Fernandes playing in the Saudi Pro League? I cannot. I don't see it happening personally. I think he's got bigger standards than that. But you have to ask the question, don't you? Like, when you're a professional footballer and you get to the age that Bruno Fernandes is, like Casemiro is, and there is a big lucrative contract at the end of it, which is going to set you up for life and some, then you have to look at it, don't you? In terms of Manchester United, could you see Ineos turning down that amount of money? They would make it impossible for Bruno Fernandes to stay, I think, if you were offering that sort of money. And then you look at the power of the player, like how much power does a player have to say to a football club that I don't want to go? I don't want to go over there. It's not my standard of football. How much power did the club have to actually say you have to go? It's like back in the old days when Felix Ferguson was telling Paul Ince that he was gone, he was sold, he was going to Inter Milan. He didn't have a say on it. You see you later. It's different now. And I think that's where I would go down the road of, like, I don't see Bruno Fernandes going for Saudi Pro League. I don't think that's, I think he's above that, way above that. And I think he would just say, no, I'm not doing that. But if United actually entertained offers for him from the Saudi League, then straight away, if I'm Bruno Fernandes, knowing the way he is and what he said and what we've talked about the last few days, you're going to say, well, this club definitely does not want to meet my ambitions. If they're looking to offload me and sell me, or he gets wind that United are even entertaining bids from the Saudi Pro League, then Bruno Fernandes is looking elsewhere. He's looking at Bayern, he's looking at Barcelona, and he will end up with the player power situation and the power that agents have got now, forcing Manchester United to sell him to one of the bigger European clubs. That's what happens in football. He will. It's like when, going back far again, when David Beckham was sold to Barcelona and he didn't want to go. And then he ended up manufacturing his own deal to Real Madrid. This is what players will do now. Even more so this day and age, I feel. And it's an insult for Bruno Fernandes to even be linked to the Saudi Pro League, in my opinion. And like I said, if he thinks that's where United see him, just a bit of money, then he's off. He's doing what he wants. And the ambitions that he's talked about aligning with the club and himself and where he wants to go, then that's Bruno Fernandes out of Manchester United. Bruno needs to stay, says Jason. Money talks, Adam, especially mega money. Jake, I know it totally does for the club, but what about the player? And yeah, I can bring in money talks for the player as well, because he supposedly, I can't remember the sum, but it's ridiculous the amount of money that they're offering him a week and what he can earn at the football club over there in Saudi Arabia. It's eye-watering. It really is. So yeah, money does talk, and players' heads will be turned when you flash the cash. It's whether Bruno Fernandes actually has got any standards about himself. And you know what? It's like nobody knows Bruno inside and out. But just the way he talks, the way he is, I cannot see him ever wanting to go to the Saudi Pro League. Like maybe in another couple of years, he will take the opportunity, but he's still at the top of his game. And I think he will look to move elsewhere to a club, maybe Bayern Munich, Barcelona, one of the big European clubs, definitely, but not to the Saudi Pro League. I could be completely wrong. Christopher Hooper, Sky Sports, Real Madrid have just confirmed Kylian Mbappe. Now that's how big clubs do things. Yes, Christopher, like I said, day after they win the 15th Champions League, they announced bringing Kylian Mbappe in. They've also got Endrick coming in. Rodrigo says, why would I want to leave Real Madrid, knowing that these players are coming? They've got Ancelotti, who says he will retire at Real Madrid. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. They've got the best stadium in the world. Bow down to Real Madrid. It's horrible, it's sickening, but the facts. You cannot argue with what Real Madrid are. They're an absolute phenomenon in the football world, and United used to be up there challenging the likes of Real Madrid. That's where we used to be. And we're slowly drifting away out of significance within the football world, the fallen giant that is Manchester United. That's what we're becoming. And it's horrible for the fans to see. Ten Hag has been asked to reimburse the club for adult entertainment channels, whilst the official club business, until he pays the 39 club, will not discuss his future with him. Andrew Williams making a joke out of that one there. I shouldn't have read that one out, to be honest, but I started reading and had to finish it. Sancho put a tweet out, now everyone finding fault with him. It's ridiculous. In terms of like thanking Borussia Dortmund, Jason, and that tweet that went out earlier on, cheers for that as well, Jason. Big up to you as well, my man. Let me just see what else we've got here. They are the greatest team ever, says Stu. Real Madrid, yes, they are. If Maguire could say no to moving, then Bruno is within his rights to say no to a Saudi move. Yes, I agree with that one, Nick. But what I do think Bruno is looking at, and his whole angle, is winning trophies. He wants to win. He wants to challenge for titles. He said this in all of his interviews and everything that's gone on this week. He's said it numerous times, especially over the last few months in everything that he's been doing with these interviews. He said he wants to win the biggest trophies. He's not going to be able to do that at Manchester United, sadly. We're not going to be challenging for the title for Bruno. And like we said yesterday, it comes down to how much money Ineos want to give him, because Bruno will look at it and go, I earn enough at United, but I should definitely not be below the likes of Mason Mount, Marcus Rashford, for what I've done for this football club in terms of wages. He will want bigger wages. I just don't think Ineos are going to give him them. They're not. Definitely not. And I think that's where it'll come to a head, and where we'll see something happening with Bruno Fernandes. Hey Adam, watching from Trinidad and Tobago. Donnell, welcome to the show, thank you. They've wrote the season off already. I won't go that far. Like, there's still time in the transfer window. There's still time this summer for us to salvage something at least. But yeah, it is concerning where we're at right now and what's actually going on with Ineos. I mean, guys, you tell me, get your comments in right now regarding everything we've spoken about. Bruno Fernandes, do you think he should be looking elsewhere? Does this convince him, Ineos' project, with the inconsistency and the uncertainty at the football club right now? Does that convince some of the other players at the football club that they don't want to be involved in this? Is this why the likes of Casemiro are jumping ship? Because of what Ineos are doing? Like, I'm sure Casemiro knows Sir Jim Ratcliffe's thoughts on what was said around his purchase 2 years ago, a couple of summers back in Ten Hag's first season. So maybe he's looking at it and going, well, yeah, if you don't want me, I'll find someone else, no problem. I do think Casemiro will end up in Saudi. And if they give us a big fee, it's winning the lottery. It really is. Bruno Fernandes is not going to Saudi though. I'm going to say that right now. I've convinced myself just by talking in this show alone that he's not doing it and he's not going. Dave says, only for a small percentage of games that he played. Don't get me wrong, I was very impressed with him in Germany and wished him success at United, but he never reached that level at United regularly. That being Jadon Sancho. Welsh Red says, big shout out to Adam and Kaz who are keeping these shows coming even when they are on holidays. It's actually raining in the Caribbean right now, so it works out perfect for us just to nip inside and do the evening show for you guys. You know what, I wouldn't be surprised if we had some more news tonight the way it's going today. Like I said at the start of the show, there's news coming all of the time with United. I'm just going to double check everything, make sure that there isn't anything else coming out. Romano is all over Twitter right now. Great comments from Kobe Mainu that came out today as well, guys, actually, in talking to Rafael Varane. Actually, a man with some decent advice. The best thing you can invest in as a professional footballer, Varane said, is your body. Yes, I think everyone who is at a certain age would definitely give that advice to younger players anyway. It's like watching people who shouldn't play football try and run around the football pitch, isn't it? Looking like they're going to collapse any minute. There's a certain time when you just say no. But yeah, look after your body, Kobe, and we will see many a great years of the United shirts. We should be hearing within the transfer window about his new contract as well, because that is coming to a close as well right now with Kobe Mainu. Let's see what else we've got. 10 excuses Hag out, says Boxing Straight Talk. Christopher Hooper, don't forget to take our hats off for our heroes. 80 years anniversary of the D-Day. Thank you to all you've never forgotten. Well said. Just see what else we've got in here. Bruno not going anywhere. He's our best player and captain. I feel like that is the way it is going to be, mate, as well. Get your comments in, everybody, as well. Just to round up what's actually happened, if you have just joined us now, maybe joined us late, we have done a little bit earlier today because it's lashing it down outside. We're having a bit of a storm right now, so we're in a little bit early off. Manchester United are actively contacting agents of other managers just in case they decide to get rid of Ten Hag. News like that says to you that we are nowhere near a decision regarding Ten Hag. That could all change. Anyone could have been fed news from the football club which is complete bull, and that's what we're hearing about on social media. But that's where we're at with the manager situation right now. We're in the crucial final stages, apparently, Fabrizio Romano has said. I'm sure we were in the final stages last week as well, and the review that's been going on over a week now. I said, it's confusing and it's worrying that we are nowhere near what is where we need to be for the start of this summer. Like, we are nowhere near what Manchester United fans would hope and hoped Ineos were going to bring. The organisation doesn't look any different right now, and I don't think anyone is going to change their mind about Ineos until they make this decision on the manager situation, because we're looking at the likes of Inacio at centre-back right now, when Manchester United are talking apparently to clubs regarding transfers, but realistically, looking at it, Inacio, yeah, good defender, worth talking about. But is it until we know what's happening with the manager? No one really cares. Like, the only thing United fans care about right now is if Ten Hag is going to be the new manager and who is leaving the football club. We need business to move forward very quickly. Otherwise, we are going to be in one of them horrible summers where we're just looking at it going, we're miles behind and we're falling even further behind. That's where we're at. Daniel says, why sell our best players to buy on the cheap? Sell Bruno, our team falls apart. They will buy cheap replacements, not fit for the job. Another damning one onto Ineos. Guys, please give the video a like. We're nearly at the 150 mark for the likes. I'm going to round up the video there. That is where we're up to, guys. Also, don't forget, everybody, 8 o'clock tonight, the United Couple episode 7 podcast here from the Dominican. Me and Kaz are back. That's on the United Couple. The link is in the description below. Make sure you go and click on it. Subscribe to the podcast channel. Episode 7 is coming. You might as well play a bit of catch up on the first 6 episodes. If you are new to the channel, episode 7 from the Caribbean is on at 8 o'clock tonight. So make sure that you do get onto that one. Links to all our sponsors and everything and partners are in the description as well, guys. So make sure you check all of them out. And we will leave you there. I will be back if anything breaks over the night, but I've got a feeling it won't, and I'll probably be talking to you again tomorrow morning, and we're talking about what might be rather than what has happened. But until then, guys, have a great rest of the evening. Enjoy yourselves. Hopefully we've got more news to talk about. But until then, see you all later. Like, share and subscribe.